Welcome and good evening to Green TV in association with the PATT Foundation. I'm very, very excited and pleased to announce the fabulous Steve Judge, who's going to talk about his inspiring journey. We'll have questions and answers at the end. This is a live broadcast and we will be recording it for YouTube. So sit back and enjoy. Over to you, Steve.
Thank you very much, Gail. I guess when you say live recording, it's like, no, nobody swear. Okay. Not that I do anyway. But anyway, so before I go on, I know that everybody's putting themselves on mute, which is perfect. But as a speaker, I'd also want to know that everybody's listening and connected. So the people that I can actually see, if I say something that's good, can you just give me a thumbs up that you agree with what I've said? So give me a thumbs up. This is a practice. So give me a thumbs up. Yep. Okay. Lots of thumbs up. Good. If I say something that's even better than that, it's fantastic. It's awesome. Give me 2 thumbs up. So just give me 2 thumbs up. So I know that I've said something right. Okay. And if I do something that's worthwhile, can you give me a wave, like a jazz hands wave, so that I feel good? There's lots of action. Jazz hands wave. Good. Okay. Now that I've got that, I can carry on. So that's really good. It's not an ego boost, honestly. It's just so I know what's going on. Go GB! Come on, Great Britain! So this is what they're shouting to me. So I'm in Beijing. It's 2011, and I've just done a triathlon. To be honest, I've not done the whole thing. I've done the swim section, I've done the bike section, and now I'm on the run section. So I'm running as fast as I can. And I'm looking behind me as the French athlete and the American athlete are chasing me down. I'm running along, and as I'm coming round, I can hear everybody screaming my name. And they're going, "Come on, Steve!" Which is amazing, because as I hear my name being shouted, I can't help but smile, which is great, which is lovely. But as I'm smiling, I suddenly realize that I can't breathe. I think, okay, that's not good. I need to breathe. So Steve, stop smiling, keep breathing, just concentrate. And as I come around the final corner, that's where I can see the grandstand. And that's where I can see everybody. They're all on their feet and they're shouting, "Go on, Steve." And I can see beyond them, I can see that thing that I've been working towards, my goal, my opportunity, the finish line. And I started getting really nervous. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Steve, don't get nervous. Stop smiling, keep breathing, concentrate. And I'm going as fast as I can. And across the finish line, as I cross the finish line, I remember going, yeah, almost turning to the grandstand and like saluting them in a cheer, going, yeah. And as soon as I crossed the finish line, this official came over to me and he gives me this medal and put it around my neck straight away. And I thought, wow, that was quick. Did I win? Is it bronze? Is it silver? Is it gold? It's very shiny. And I'm trying to read the writing on it. The thing is, it's all in Chinese. I don't understand Chinese. So I'm flipping it over and there's got some more writing on the back of it. And this is in English. So I'm reading it and it says finisher's medal. And I go, oh, okay, it's a finisher. And I look around me and, well, everybody's got a finisher's medal because they've just finished the triathlon. But then I suddenly realized that I was hugging this medal really tightly because this medal meant so much to me. Not only was I representing Great Britain, and not only had I done a triathlon, which is amazing in itself, but 9 years before I got this medal put around my neck, I had been told that I may never walk again. And so that's the journey, the story that I want to share with you guys today. But I've been talking to Gail, and we've got quite a lot of people joining us here today. So Gail said, make sure it's not all about you, Steve. You know, think about the audience. So I said, okay, Gail. So I'm going to ask you a question. And the question is, what's your goal? And I want you to think about that as I go through my presentation. What's that thing that you get really excited about? That thing that you're striving towards? That thing that gets you out of bed in the morning? That thing that gets you like butterflies in your stomach? What is it that you really want? Now, to split the word goal down a little bit more, I would say, what is your goal? What is your opportunity? What's your love, your desire, your dream, if it were? What's that really special thing? Because as I go through my presentation, I want to adapt and adopt all the messages that I give and relate to the journey that I'm going through. Now, another relation that I want you to think about is also, what's your goal? And now you're thinking, Steve, I haven't a clue what you're talking about. So let me just split that down again. So what's your goal is what are you in contempt with? What are your obstacles in your life that you're struggling with? What are you angry about, COVID? What are you loathing, pandemic? Things like that. What are you really struggling with your life that you can't get through, that you feel that are holding you back? Because what I'm going to do throughout the presentation is I'm going to give you 4 simple messages. And these will take you from your goal to your gold, from your contempt, your obstacles, your anger, your loathing, to your goal, your opportunities, your love, your desire, your dream. Now, as we go through the presentation, I'm going to be talking about the wave of resilience. For those of you that don't know this, this is when you have some kind of a change, some adversity that happens in your life. I think we've all been through that recently. So I'm sure you can relate to this, but you'll be going through life, and then you'll get something that happens, and that's when you'll get the shock. And that will knock you for six. Initially, you'll be in denial. You'll go, I can't believe this is happening to me. Surely not. And then you'll get angry about this thing, and it will drag you down. No doubt about it. Now, as you go down, you'll be sharing, maybe to your partner, to friends and family, maybe on social media, maybe in a diary, maybe through art. But one way or another, you'll be sharing, but you will eventually hit your rock bottom. Now, this could be something like sulking for a while, or might be even worse than that, and even lead to depression. Think about when you've been into that state of mind in the past, or even now, or even recently. That's when I'd say you're at your coal, your rock bottom. That's when you're really angry and you're loathing and you feel there's so many obstacles. Now, the part after that is acceptance. And after acceptance is action, and then moving forward. And this is what I'm going to be talking about, going through my presentation, about taking you from your coal to your gold. And I'd stress that again, to think about what that means to you in your life at the moment. What are you getting away from? But more importantly, what are you striving to be? Where do you want to go? What is your self-actualization? Okay, so while you're thinking about that, it is actually all about me. So I'm going to be talking about me and my journey. So this is me when I was a kid. I loved running. So this is my brother, first of all, then my dad, my mum, my sister, and me. I'm on the end. We even have got the dog in the photo. We would run everywhere and everywhere. Running was my passion. It was my thing, and I loved it. The other thing that I loved doing was scouting. I love scouting. I loved it for the fun, the challenge, the adventure, the life skills and the opportunities. Have you got any ex-Cubs here, or scouts, or guides, brownies? You've got a few hands going up there. Yes, good for you. So the badges was what I loved. And I used to be that scout that used to take the badge book home. And I used to flick through that badge book, finding the next badge that I wanted. And then I'd go and ask for help from my mum, my dad, the scout leader, of course. And I'd work towards that badge and to earn it. But I guess in a way, I was setting a foundation of setting goals and working towards them. Now, when I left school, I worked down the coal pits of Yorkshire. I did this job, and I did like the job, but I just felt that I could do more than that. And so I took myself off to night school to become an engineer. Now, I went to night school 3 nights a week, and I struggled. But I didn't want to give in. I didn't want to quit. And so I even took myself to the library on those other nights so that I could do extra study. Eventually, I became a mechanical engineer, still working down the coal pits. And that now meant that as an engineer, I was given problems. And my job was to find solutions. And I loved that. Sometimes I had to be ingenious to find the solutions, like robbing parts from broken down machines to get my machine up and running. As soon as I got my machine up and running, I'd get the hell out of there because it's dirty and dusty. I didn't really like the conditions, but I loved the job about being given problems and finding solutions. Now, my father, he got cancer, and he fought it for 7 long years. I would say that he never quit, and he never gave in. But eventually, after 7 years, the cancer beat him, and he passed away in 1996. For me, I carried on running because running was my passion. Running was the thing that I loved, and that's what I did. You always got to do what makes you happy, surely. So I just kept on running. And this takes us all the way up to 2002. Now I live in Sheffield, so I'm driving on the outskirts of Sheffield, and it's a rainy day. You can hear the rain coming down as I'm driving along. As I'm driving along, there's water on the road, and I lose control. There's nobody else on the road. I'm not speeding, but as I hit the water, I turn sideways and I skid, and I lose control. I can see a pole coming towards me, and there's nothing I can do about it apart from brace. Everybody came to save me. The police, the ambulance, the fire brigade, they got to the car and they slowly cut the car apart, which took them about an hour and a half, eventually reaching into the car and dragging me out along with my legs. Now they put me into a nearby waiting ambulance, and that ambulance mercy dashed me to the nearest hospital, which is the Northern General Hospital in Sheffield. To be honest, I can remember the ambulance trip very clearly because the other 2 guys in it, they were called Steve and Steve. So you can imagine the kind of conversation. They're going, "Are you okay, Steve?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, Steve." "Okay, Steve, we're going to go very fast, Steve." "Okay, Steve." "Yes, Steve, that's good, Steve." "And very safely, Steve." "Okay, Steve." "Yes, Steve." "Good, Steve." "Right, Steve." So the two Steves, to be honest, I like Steves because they gave me lots of blood. They saved my life. So Steves are good. I like Steves. They got me all the way to the hospital. They got me ready for to meet my surgeon. I met my surgeon. Now, I didn't know him. His name was Simon. And Simon looked at me and my condition. He said, "Okay, Mr. Judge, we're going to see what we can do, but you've got to bear in mind that we may even have to amputate your right leg because it's so badly damaged." These aren't words that I thought I'd hear that morning. I can remember just looking into the surgeon's eyes and saying, "Please, just do the best that you can." And with that, they took me off into the operating theatre to save my legs. But I later found that they lied to me that day because it wasn't just my legs that they were trying to save. It was my life. They really didn't know whether I was going to come out of that operating theatre alive or dead. And that's the message that my mum received on that night. Hearing that she might not see her younger son again was really hard for her, as you can imagine. Harder than that was then relaying that message to my brother and to my sister, who are based down south. They both burst into tears, hearing that they might not see their younger brother ever again. Now, the operation lasted about 8 hours, and when I came out of it, I felt terrible. I felt really bad. I felt stiff all over. My shoulders were aching. I felt very static. And I was lying there in pain and agony. And as I was lying there, I was staring up at the ceiling. And then I could hear this voice. This voice is saying, "Steve, Steve, come on, Steve. Sit up, Steve." I recognized the voice. It was my mum's voice, who traveled overnight to be with me at my bedside. As I slowly sat up, I scanned the room and I saw two other familiar faces, my brother and my sister, who traveled up overnight with each other to be there at my bedside again when I needed them most. Now, it was around this time when the surgeon was doing his rounds and he came over to my bed. He said, "How are you feeling, Mr. Judge?" And I just said, I feel terrible. I feel really groggy. He says, "I just want you to know, Mr. Judge, we did our best in the operating theatre and we did manage to save both of your legs, but I'm afraid with the extent of your injuries, you may never walk again." Now, I think when somebody gives you words like that, it's like a fight or flight in a way. And for me, the flight would have been that I could have just rolled over in bed and given in and said, "Okay, I guess I'll never walk again." But the opposite is it's the fight, isn't it? The anger. I can remember feeling really angry that somebody had the audacity to say that to me. You know, I felt like that definitely was the fight. I can remember lying there, looking up at the surgeon and thinking, who are you? Who are you to tell me that I may never walk again? I mean, your name's not even Steve, you know, because I like Steve. Steve's a good. His name's Simon. Who's Simon? The thing is that Simon had a point as a surgeon because he knew what he was talking about. My legs were in a really bad way. Let me try and explain. My left knee was just ripped apart at the knee. So it's ripped apart. The 4 ligaments that hold it together, the ligaments, they were just ripped out. Now, my right leg was even worse than that. My right leg was partially amputated. Now, to explain what that means, I've got the aid of a prop here. So if you bear with me, this is my right tibia leg. If you imagine that's my bone in my right tibia leg. And this is broken once, twice, leaving 4 inches of bone that was considered no good by the surgeons in the operating theatre. And consequently, this part was just thrown away. That left me with a very short leg. And that's what I woke up to on that day. Now, this was held together with a big cage wrapped around it. And it's going to have to be my job to get my leg to the right length again. Now, I do have an X-ray of the actual leg. Give me a thumbs up if you want to see the X-ray. Do you want to see a picture of that? It's not too graphic. It's not too scary. Yeah. Okay. A few thumbs up. So you can see there the X-ray that I've got. You can see the 4 inches of bone, that was the bit that was knocked out. Okay. We've got a photo after this. It's got the picture of the cage. Do you want to see that? Give me a thumbs up if you want to see the next slide. You sure? Okay. You've got a few thumbs up. Look away if you don't want to see it. So here's a picture of the cage. This was around my leg. So the rings are like bicycle wheels that go round the leg and the spokes go through the middle and out the other side. So you've got a bit of flexibility. It's all held together with nuts and bolts. You can imagine as an engineer, I kind of like had a bit of delight having this on my on my leg that I could tinker with. But I had to twist those bolts day after day after day, slowly stretching the skin and the muscle and ligaments and actually wrenching the bone apart to form a gap of 4 inches. That was my responsibility. Now let's have a look at where I am on my journey of the wave of resilience at the moment. You might be able to relate to where you are. I've been through the shock and the denial. I've definitely been through the anger. The sharing I'd done in the way of a diary that I was keeping. And now it's definitely at rock bottom. I know that because I found this diary entry. This is like 4 weeks after the accident. And it said, the bit that I've circled says, today was a good day because today was the first time I didn't cry. What did that mean? It meant that I'd cried every single day in my mother's arms. I can remember the question saying, why me? Why me? There's clearly no answer to that. I know that. But I also want you to have a look at that, what I wrote there. Today was a good day because today was the first time I didn't cry. I'd come to accept the situation. And after the acceptance on the wave of resilience, the next part is action. And that's what I needed to do. Now, this is where I'm going to come up to the 4 simple steps to turn your goal into your goal, because this is what I used. And you can write these down if you want. The first one is vision. You've got to have a vision of where you're going. You've got to have the end in mind. You've got to get a routine. Routine has saved me so many times. It saved me now through the pandemic, but it definitely saved me there through my rehabilitation. A greater purpose. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And what about a growth mindset? Think about what you can do rather than what you can't do. So how does that relate to me? So I had a vision. I wanted to stand again and walk again. Next thing I did was routine, physio, so much physio. I was always asking the physio, what more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? The one thing I had to do after lengthening my leg, because it just left a gap, I had to grow bone back. Now, I don't know about you, but how do you grow bone back? I just thought you drank lots of milk or ate lots of cheese, for the calcium. I can remember the surgeon, they're being very posh. I'll put some glasses on. I was like, no, Mr. Judge, you don't just drink milk and eat cheese. You ought to stand on your leg, walk on your leg, trust the cage. And I'm like, trust the cage? You trust the cage. But this is what I had to do to get my leg to grow the bone back. Now, like I said, I live in Sheffield. It's very hilly in Sheffield. So I needed to find somewhere flat. There's a place in the knee called Rother Valley. It's got a lake there. It's got a path all the way around the lake. It's flat. And I knew what I had to do. That I grabbed my crutches and I got in my hand controls car and I drove down to Rother Valley. And as I drove down there, it was raining. And I was just like, oh no. And my brain was screaming out to me, don't do it! But I knew that I had to. Grabbing my crutches, I remember preparing myself, putting my foot down, feeling the pain. Ah! The pain should consume me, making me feel cold and lightheaded. Ah! Eventually, I could see that a park bench was closer to me than my car was behind me. Getting to that park bench, I sat down on it and I rested, recovered, and wiped the tears away. I looked at my watch because I timed myself 34 minutes. I looked at my pedometer, half a mile. Half a mile in 34 minutes? What a joke. I just felt, I used to be a runner. I just thought, what's the point? Why am I even bothering doing this? I felt demoralized, deflated. But then I looked down at my leg and I could see that all the pins were bleeding and the blood was dripping down my leg and being soaked up by my sock. At that point, I realized that I couldn't have gone any further that day. I realized that I'd been the best that I could be. I started feeling cold and I knew what I had to do. I picked myself up and I slowly, step by step, grunting out loud on every single step, got back to the car. I closed the door so nobody could see me cry this time. I drove home. When I got home, I collapsed. That night, I had a sleepless night with muscle spasms. And the next day, I was completely exhausted. And the day after that, I got up and I did it all again. Because that's what I needed to do to achieve my goal. I'm going to turn this around on you now. I want you to ask yourself, what do you need to do to achieve your goal? What do you need to do? Is it an email? Is that a phone call? Is it search something on Google or YouTube? Is it ask for help? Have a think about what that is. If anything, write it down while it's fresh in your mind. Think about what you need to do and take action to do it. Now, I went back to Rother Valley time and time again, walking as far as I could onto the next bench. And sometimes I fell, and many times I cried. But eventually, I got past that first park bench and then onto the next park bench. And then after that, I set my sights onto the next park bench, and then around the top of the lake and onto the next park bench. It's quite a good story about benchmarking here, really, if you think about it. The thing is that I kept on doing that. I kept on setting my goals and working towards them, but always saying to myself, pushing myself through the pain barrier and making sure that I wasn't leaning on my excuses. And instead, I was turning my excuses into challenges. And this is a big message of mine that I'm going to pass on to you. I want you to ask yourself, next time somebody tells you that you can't do something, is that true? Or is that an excuse that you're leaning on? Or next time you tell yourself that you can't do something, is that true? Or is that an excuse that you're leaning on? And if it is, I'd urge you to turn that excuse into a challenge and move on. Now, I carried on doing that for the next year and a half, and eventually my bone did grow. The cage was released. I was able to stand again and walk again. My goal had been very much about getting back to normal. I realized at this stage that I was very different to what I was before the accident. Let me briefly explain it. My left leg, they put new ligaments in my knee, ligaments from a pig, believe it or not. I don't ask too many questions. I do feel a little bit guilty having bacon sandwiches now, but it's all good. So my left leg, it's all repaired, but I've got lack of feeling, lack of movement, loss of sensitivity. My right leg, it is the right length, which is good, but I've got lack of movement, lack of calf muscle. It gives me a lot of pain as well. So I was very much like I could stand and walk. I was very different to what I was before the accident. And it made me realize that there was no such thing as normal. And again, a message I want to pass out to you, that there is no such thing as normal. So stop comparing yourself to other people, to your friends, to your family, to celebrities. Everybody's different. And I was very different. I had to start thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. So I couldn't run anymore, but I could swim. So I swam. And eventually I got onto a bike and I started cycling because I could do that. And I started setting myself goals for charities and things like that. And people said, Steve, big question that I always get asked. Steve, have you always been like this? Have you always been like pushing yourself and setting goals? And I thought back, I thought, I don't think so. Not in work, not at school really. And then I thought, in scouting. I wasn't scouting. So that urged me to find some old photos, with the badges. I love those badges. So it urged me to go and find some old photos of me when I was in scouting. So I went into the loft with a torch. And so I went into the loft and I was rummaging around, looking through some old boxes, some old photos, and eventually I found this photo here. It's of me when I was about 10 and a half years old. And you can see that I've got the Cub of the Year and I've got my bronze, silver and gold badges here. And my 3 first badges that I ever got in scouting were swimming, cycling and running. And that just compelled me to look for a new challenge. Now, while I was rummaging around in the loft, I also found this in an old box. This is from my traveling days. I don't know if you heard, but the coal pits of Yorkshire, they closed down. I got made redundant. I went traveling around the world, earning my keep. And I got this gift given to me from a guy in Australia. So let me tell you the story. I was in Australia. The floods came down, got stuck in this hostel with this Japanese guy. I taught him to speak English a little bit. And after 2 days, he went off. But before he left, he said, Steve, I give you this coin. It's a 5 yen coin from Japan, and it's called a Goen. And Goen stands for good karma. He says, by accepting this, you will get good karma, but only if you're aware of your vision and you seize opportunities. I said, okay, thank you very much. I felt a little bit guilty. I didn't have a gift for him, but he went off to Darwin. And on that day, I went into the outback because I had a goal that I wanted to find this thing called the natural wall of China. It's basically a white granite vein in the outback, and all the rock is eroded either side of it. So it's just like standing on its own. So I went into the outback looking for this, and it was treacherous and it was really hot, and my sandal broke, but I had this goal that I wanted to get to this wall. So I strapped my sandal up with some tape. Eventually, I got all the way out to this, and I saw it on the horizon, this wall, and I walked up to it, and I climbed up, and I took this amazing photo. I say amazing because it was in the days when you didn't know whether the photo was going to come out or not until you got it developed. My camera was literally hanging in a tree with a piece of string. I took this photo, and after I did this pose, I put my hand in my pocket, and I felt that Goen coin. And I suddenly realized what Taka had said to me about being aware of my vision and seizing opportunities. And I said, yeah, I get it now. That's how I got to this wall. So I'm back in the loft and I'm holding this thing in my hand, and I thought, I'm going to need this coin. I need some good luck, some karma. So I put some string through it and I put it around my neck so that it would always remind me to always be aware of my vision and to seize those opportunities. With that, I went on to Google and I searched in swimming and cycling events, and the only thing it came up with was triathlon. I was like, oh, I can't run. I thought, but maybe I could walk around the running route and I could still call myself a triathlete. But then I scrolled down and I found this thing called a paratriathlon, triathlon for disabled people. And I thought, oh, I wonder, with my legs, I wonder if I'm disabled or not. So I went down to get assessed and they checked me out. They gave me lots of exercises, asked me lots of questions. And they said, Mr. Judge, you are disabled. I'm like, yes, this is great. Because now I could compete as a disabled athlete. Now I couldn't lean on my excuses. And they said, Mr. Judge, can you run? And I said, not yet. But now I've got a goal. Now, I hadn't run for 7.5 years. Running had been stolen from me. But now I had a goal. And I can remember going out running for the first time in 7.5 years, looking down at my legs. My brain knew what to do, but my legs couldn't quite do it. But I was looking down at my legs and I thought, wow, I'm doing it. I'm running again. And the fulfillment, the joy that I got was absolutely amazing. The thing is, that was the adrenaline, the endorphin. When I stopped, that's when the pain hit. So much pain that the next day I couldn't run. So I thought about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. And I swam. And the day after that, I cycled. Again, thinking what I could do. So when we're talking about the 4 principles, I had a vision of doing this triathlon. My routine was very much swim, bike. The next day, when the pain had subsided, I ran again. That was kind of my training montage in that order. And that took me all the way up to the first triathlon. Now, the first triathlon happened to be down at Rother Valley, the same park where I'd done all my rehabilitation. So I was very excited going down there. Everybody was there, my mum, my brother, my sister, there when I needed them most to support me. Now, as I registered, it happened to be on the 6th of June, which is the exact day 11 years from when my father had passed away. A great shame that he wasn't there. But when I went to register for my race number, they gave me my race number, which was race number 11. I actually felt that my father was actually going to be with me every step of the way. Now, I met the paratriathletes from around the UK. They were amazing people with missing arms, missing legs, visually impaired, or completely blind, doing a paratriathlon. So we get our wetsuits on and then we get into the water. We're waiting for the horn to go, but you can hear my heart beating as I'm there, waiting for the horn. So swimming as fast as I can. I come out to swim and I'm winning in my category. This is amazing. I grab my bike, so I'm now cycling all the way around the reservoir that I just swam in. And I cycle and put the bike down and I'm still winning in my category. This is amazing. I've got 5K left. I set off on the run and my running had improved a little bit, but I'm still looking behind me for the next competitor. And as I'm running along, I can see those park benches that I used to do my rehabilitation with. And I can see a vision of myself sitting down on those park benches in tears and in pain. I remember saying to myself, look at me now. That's not me anymore. Look at me now. Look at what I'm doing. And I was running as fast as I could. 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K. I'm running, looking straight ahead, but I'm also looking behind me. I'm looking behind me, looking at my coal, looking at the contentness that I'd had, the obstacles I had, the pain. I wanted to make sure that the accident hadn't had a detrimental effect on my life. That was what I was running away from, but I was running towards my goal, my future. The finish line. Everyone was going crazy. My mum, my dad, my brother, they're going crazy. It's going, whoa, I'm running as fast as I can.
Go on, Steve! Go on! Steve!
And I crossed the finish line. And on that day, it was an amazing day. I won in my category, but more than that, I won, became British champion, which is an incredible thing to do. And I just remember as I crossed the finish line, picking my son up and just hugging him like a teddy bear. I was in tears. He was in tears. And when people say, what does it feel like? Is it excitement? Is it joy? I tell you now, it's relief. It's absolute relief for all the pain and the sorrow that I've been through, all the hard work that I put in. And for my mum to be there, my brother, my sister, to see that just meant so much. You can see there that I'm wearing the going round my neck, having a vision and seizing those opportunities. And that's exactly what happened, because one of the officials came over to me and said, Mr. Judge, you're now British champion. Would you like to represent Great Britain? And I'm like, hell yeah, I would love to represent Great Britain. So my vision's changed then. And I had to start thinking about how I was going to do that, how I was going to move towards my new vision. One of the things, once you've got the vision, you've got to come up with the routine. And this was not going to be easy for me because I had a full-time job. I had a family with 2 kids, 2 young kids. And now I want to do swimming, cycling and running at an elite level. My time was 5:30 in the morning. That's when I'd get up. That was my routine. I'd go to the swimming sessions and then I'd go straight to work throughout the morning. At lunchtime, I'd go for a run. That wasn't easy. Wouldn't have any showers where we worked. I literally used a bucket and a sponge to sponge myself down before going back to my desk and working throughout the afternoon. I did that when I went home, played with the kids, put the kids to bed, and then went out on my bike. I'm not saying I did that every day, but I was always thinking about what I could do rather than what I couldn't do. That was my routine. That's what I was doing. The higher source, the higher reasoning was I was going to represent Great Britain. And I was going to do it as much as I could. The thing is, I realized as I was getting some of the start lines that some of my friends weren't even there. I was like, well, where are they? Where's George? Where's Dave? Oh, they're injured. I felt really gutted for them. And I suddenly realized that how important it was just to get to the start line. How does this relate to what you're going through? Who knows? Let's call it wellness. If you can't get to the start line, you can't even compete. So I had to I had to do that thing called injury prevention. Now, for those of you that don't know what injury prevention is, it is the most boring thing ever because it's all about doing stretches, warming up, warming down. I was doing yoga, Tai Chi. I was doing my mindset, nutrition. The thing is, I realized how important it was. It didn't make me stronger and faster, but it made me uninjured. And again, I could get to the start line. So I'll pass it on to you again. If you can't get to your start line, you can't even compete. So I know you're passionate about what you want to do, but think about how to look after yourself, whether that's mental health or wellness. It's so important. Doing all of this meant that I could get to every start line. And I achieved my first goal was to become European champion, which was in 2011. An amazing accolade, and crossing that finish line, to hearing the crowds cheering, wearing the GB kit was absolutely awesome. But as you know, my goal was really in Beijing, 2011 at the World Championships. Going there was incredible, meeting paratriathletes from around the world this time. Again, missing arms, missing legs, vision impaired, completely blind, doing a paratriathlon. So this time it's all very official and we all get announced in, they announce your name out and everything. Okay, we're getting into the water. You can hear my heartbeat. We're waiting for on your marks.
On your mark.
So doing the swim as fast as I can. As I come out of the swim, I'm winning in my category. There's about 6 different categories. So I grab my bike, 20 kilometers now. So I'm cycling as fast as I can. And I'm cycling around the reservoir that we've just done. And as I'm cycling along, there's other people that are overtaking me. And I'm trying to work out whether they're in my category or not. And I'm literally looking to see how many arms they've got and how many legs they've got. And going, no, let that one go, let them go. Oh, chase that one, chase that one. So I'm doing all of that. I get to the end of the bike and I've wrapped my bike. I've now got 5K. 5K, become world champion. So I set up as fast as I can, running as fast as I can, looking behind me for the French athlete and the American, and looking in front of me, but also I'm looking behind me at what I'm leaving. I'm leaving an unsupporting wife whose final words to me were, I hope you lose. An unsupportive boss and a job that I absolutely hated. I was running away from that, but I was running towards my future. My goals, my opportunities, the finish line. And the crowd are going crazy as I'm coming around the final corner. They're going crazy.
Go on! Go on, Justin! Steve! Go on! Here's your number 34. Here's Steve.
So I crossed the finish line, getting the gold medal. You can give me a round of applause, virtual round of applause for the gold medal. Woo! So I've got the gold medal. Absolutely incredible. And again, crossing that finish line, people say, what does it feel like? Is it joy? Is it excitement? It's absolute relief. It's emotional as well. But you can just see the passion that I had as I punched the air in triumph. I was just so happy to do it, to finish it. And again, to stand on the podium, to hear my national anthem being played, for me, that's what it was all about. That's what I really had so much pride in doing. A moment that I will never live again, although I did a couple of years later, but not at this moment. At that moment, it's amazing and just felt so special to me. So where are we now? Oof, Thank you very much for the applause, the ongoing applause. So I've now retired from an international competition. I retired in 2014. One of the first things I did, because I've had a bit of time on my hands, I went back to scouting. Went back to scouting to help Cubs with their future, for the fun, the challenge, the adventure, their life skills, their opportunities. Who knows where those badges will take them later on in their life. Obviously, we can't do it face to face at the moment, but I'm not leaning on my excuses. We're doing it virtually every Monday evening. We're doing fun and frolics and doing all sorts of things, doing mug cakes and all sorts. Now I run my business as an international motivational speaker. My principles are to help people, inspire others, and to motivate many. Once again, can't do it face to face at the moment. So not leaning on my excuses. I'm doing it virtual from my office and making sure that I still spread the word, even speaking in New Zealand. So again, it always does open new opportunities. And I always think about what more I can do. So I also do a workshop where I do the waves of resilience, helping people to build up their resilience. I do Stagecoach Gold. I believe that every single person has got a story inside them. And if they want to share that story to help others, then I want to help them in the best way possible. Coaching people through my process helps them to deliver their message in the most memorable way possible. And your vision, your goal is helping people with the 4 principles to find their vision, to have a routine, to think about the higher purpose, but also to have a growth mindset. Now, on that subject, I've got some courses coming up. If you are interested in any of those, please just type in the chat the word gold or get in contact with me. I say this because I've got a 75% off at the moment because it's the beginning of the year. But like I said, I really want to help people. If you feel that you need that help, please reach out and ask, and I will do my best to help you. But a lot of people also said to me, Steve, the thing is, you've got an amazing story. Have you got a book? I said, well, I haven't really got a book. They said, well, you've got a really good journey there. You should have a book. Why haven't you got a book? I said, well, I haven't got a book because I haven't written a book. They said, oh, Steve, you should write a book. I said, okay, I get it. I'll write a book. So that's what I've got to do. So I set myself a goal in about 2018. It was to write my own autobiography, a massive thing. And now I've got a book and it's called, aptly, Don't Lean on Your Excuses. And this is amazing because not only am I author now, which is a cool, but my whole story is in there. What you've heard tonight is maybe 30, 40 minutes. The whole story is in the book. And that gives me such pride, again, to get the messages out there. Now, where does that bring us with opportunities? I think once you've got, you're an author and you put it out there, other people are interested. And I remember meeting Paul Lowe. I did a talk in his podcast. He said, Steve, amazing journey. Would you like to co-author in another book? I said, I would love that, to co-author. And so that's what I've done. And so this is what I wanted to talk about tonight as well. This book is called Mastering the Game of Life. And I've joined 22 other authors, and where we all share our moments where we've mastered the game of life in our own version. This is one of the books I'm going to be giving away tonight, but this is a great book as well. So please contact me if you're interested in buying either of those. The guy that put this together is Paul Lowe. He's on the call tonight. So you want to contact him as well. That's fine. But it is actually about you. So the question is, what's your gold? What's that thing that you really love? What's that thing that really gets you going? That fire inside you, that thing that gets you out of bed, that passion you have. On your journey towards your gold, there's going to be times when you feel that you failed. You've got to realize that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. If you find the right goal, which you will, there's going to be times when you're struggling to achieve that goal. Whatever you do, don't change the goal, change the plan. There's going to be times when you're really struggling, but you've got to make sure that there's all these barriers that you have in front of you. You've got to see those barriers as excuses, and you've got to turn those excuses into challenges and smash through those barriers. And if you do that, and if you are the best that you can be every single day, then I know that you will have no regrets. And I also know if you do all of that and you follow the 4 principles of having a vision, having a routine, having a bigger mindset, a growth mindset, and also having a bigger value of why you're doing this, I believe that every single one of you will achieve your gold. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. That was amazing. Thanks so much, Steve. I'm just going to switch to the gallery. Oh, gosh. I've gone speechless for the first time ever, I think. No, that was brilliant. And I think I think at the moment with everyone's going through COVID at the moment, everybody can, with their excuses, can certainly be inspired and not lean on their excuses. I think everyone that keeps going and keeps doing what they're doing are the ones that are going to succeed.
Now, I've just had a notification that's come up and it says my battery's low. So I'm just going to go and get my plug.
Right, I'll see if there's any questions out.
If you can collect some questions, I'll be like 1 minute. I will run as fast as I can.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Great time. Has anybody got any questions or feedback?
AD, that comes down to preparation, doesn't it?
It certainly does, my friend. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that one bit. Unbelievable.
Day one week one, that is.
It's a good job I had the camera off, actually. You know, when he showed us his leg and he was snapping the stick. I just cringed.
Did
No,
did that get you guys? Was just saying, Steve, we've got some obviously veterans on. We've got Paul and AD and Paul Sykes, Brad, with people that have been in the forces. So with you, the bone snapping exercise, I think hit a few nerves with some of the guys, so who can relate to that. So
yeah, and that's what I really want to do. It might sound a bit cruel, but by bringing you into the story with sound effects or even a description, then you can relate more. And if you can relate more, then you're going to get more from the journey. And that's what I really want. So are there any individual particular questions that anybody would like to ask?
I've just put it out to the panel. So
I've got one, Steve, if I may.
Yes, Jim.
First of all, thank you for sharing your story. I think it's a fantastic story. I love a happy ending, but the execution was superb. Just one question I've got is to achieve any goal in life, you've got to be prepared to sacrifice something. Is there anything particularly on your journey that you've had to sacrifice that maybe as you're getting on, shall I say, that you regret?
So I think there are sacrifices. People say that if you're doing what you love, then there are no sacrifices. But I think that's a bit like single-minded, really. I think there's certain times on my routine. The one that springs to mind is, going out with the lads, maybe. Sometimes I couldn't because I was either training on that night or I had a training session the next day. Or I'd go out with the lads or friends and maybe not drink. Now, I'm not saying you have to drink to enjoy yourself, but I kind of wanted to. I wanted to let my hair down a bit, but I couldn't because I needed to do the training the next day. And you talked about having regrets, and what I urge to do, I don't want to use the word try, but I want to live my life with no regrets. I think when people say, have you got anything that you regret in the past is gone. And so the thing is, you've got to look to the future, make sure that you don't have any regrets. You have control. You're in control of your life. So what I mean by that is think about how you're going to feel, whether you do that or don't do that. You make the decision, okay? And once you've made the decision, it's done. It's gone. Whether you regret it or not, it's gone. It's gone. So a good example might be in the summer. I love swimming in the lake in the summertime. But when I wake up, we're talking like June time, it's not super warm. When I wake up in bed, I'm thinking, oh, shall I get out of bed, cycle down to the lake, jump in the lake and swim? That doesn't tempt me that much. So I feel like snuggling up in bed. However, if I think about how I'm going to feel in the lake, oh my goodness, amazing. I love open water swimming with the ducks and the blue sky and everything like that. It's incredible. And as I'm coming out of the lake, I always have a massive grin. My goggles often leak because I'm smiling too much. But I love that feeling of coming out. And when I get home, then I've done for the day. I've done my cycle. I've done my swim. I maybe have done a little run. I've done my exercise. That's the feeling. And that's the feeling that I think about when I'm lying in bed saying, that's what I want. So yes, you're going to have to go through the hard stuff of cycling to there and getting into the cold water. It makes me shiver just thinking about it. But I know that if I do that, I'll have no regrets. And it's about living your life with no regrets. So think about what you want to do. Who do you want to be? What do you want to achieve in the future? And then work towards that. People are struggling about the pandemic and stuff. And I understand that everybody's in different situations. So think about what you want to be at the end of the pandemic. Do you want to be more educated? Do you want to be stronger, fitter? Do you want to be, I don't know, what do you want to be at the end? And work towards that. It is challenging at the moment, but you want to get back to you want to get to the end, and then look back and go, right, I did as much as I could. I had no regrets. And it is about asking yourself at the end of every single day, as the head hits the pillow, any regrets? And only you can answer this. Any regrets for today? And, sometimes you might not have got all your work done. You go, yeah, but I worked my ass off. I couldn't have done any more. fair enough. Sometimes I've not got all my work done because I've had to help my kids because I'm homeschooling. Now, do I regret that? No, I don't. It's annoying that I didn't get all my work done, but I don't regret spending time with the kids. So again, that's a no regrets. Do I regret having 2 glasses of wine or 3 glasses instead of just the one? Well, that was a decision that I made. So you can't regret it. So the thing is, you've always got to ask yourself how you're going to feel. You know the consequences. So think about how you're going to feel at the end of it and live life with no regrets. Hopefully that answers it in a roundabout way.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Steve, brilliant presentation.
Thanks, Paul.
My father was a Sheffield man
Okay.
from Woodseats.
Oh yeah, I know Woodseats.
And he always used to say, every decision you make, good or bad, leads you to where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very simple way of putting it. I just went around the houses describing my.
He was
absolutely
straight to the point. And he had another saying: "Letters before and after your name are like the tail on a pig. It has nothing to do with the quality of the meat."
I don't know where we're going with this, Paul, but yeah. No, it's true. It's absolutely true, and it's the core. It's what your core beliefs. And I think that really revolves around the actions as well. As in, a lot of people talk the talk, but can you actually walk the walk? Are you actually going to do what you say? If you've got visions and dreams and aspirations, good for you. Do something about it. Take action. There's so many people that don't. There's so many people that live their lives not fulfilling what their true potential is. That's what my why is. That's what frustrates me. People saying, with the people that you say, how are you? And they go, yeah, I'm all right. How's your health? So. How's your relationship? It's okay. How's work? Work's work. Don't you feel that that's a shame? Shouldn't it be fantastic, awesome, brilliant? Why are you living your life and not fulfilling your true potential, your self-actualization? I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying find out what that is. What does that mean to you? What makes you happy? And start taking steps to work towards that every single day, even just 5 minutes a day. Just start doing it, because that will really fulfill you and you'll get the most out of your life. I've learned this. I've learned this through a life-changing car accident that nearly killed me and has left me disabled for the rest of my life. And it does sound a bit of a cliche, a bit cheesy, but it's like you only get one life, and that's what I've learned. And so I'm now making the most of it, and I'm loving it as a motivational speaker, as a coach, as an author. And what's next? Who knows? I've got visions and dreams, and the pandemic has quashed those a little bit, but I'm coming up with new visions and new dreams and still pushing forward, making sure that I'm making the most of my life. But what about you guys? What are you doing? Maybe not now, but what about in the future? So I really want you to think about that. And if I can help you, any of you at all, please just let me know. Are there any other questions?
I was just going to say, there's not any questions as such. I've literally, the stream is just flooded of people saying, thank you, brilliant, great story, inspiring. And it's just literally, if I could screenshot them all. Well,
is that on Facebook?
Probably get this. Well, it's from you guys watching now. So everybody's saying inspirational, great story. And that you've inspired quite a lot of our guys on here. I won't name and embarrass it, but there's more than half of people I think will probably go away from this and set that goal. And this COVID pandemic is not great, but we can all set a goal on what we want to achieve when it's over, when we can do. It's really motivated us brilliantly.
Yeah, and I think they said, during the pandemic, you're going to come out of it a drunk, a hunk,
fat person.
Yeah. So I've dabbled in all of them. I've had a few to drink. I've eaten a bit too much.
I think we all have.
On the whole, I think I'm coming out the latter, which is a hunk, I guess. I've got fitter. I've developed my business more. I'm going to come out of this, as a shining light, as a beacon, and that's what I'm going to do. Gail, I think this is a good opportunity for you to open your gift that I've given you. So if you
know that you've sent me through the post, right? Okay.
So this is
please do not open until I've finished my presentation.
So this is a gift that I give to people.
Quite special now that I've been sent
to give me an opportunity, because it's very important to me to seize those opportunities. So Gail, this is a gift that I've given to you.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yay!
So it's your very own Go-In. As I said, I wear mine around my neck to remind myself every day of having a vision and seizing opportunities.
And you've even written on it as well. I've got your autograph. Yes.
Touch class there, Steve.
If you look at the coin, Gail, it's got some engravings on it, and these represent Japan. So it's got some rice fields. The rice fields represents the rice that's grown in Japan, but the rice also resembles that you can't harvest until you've sown the seeds. Now I'm very impatient. I just want to harvest, but you need to sow the seeds first. You need to put those foundations in. So do that every single day. It's also got some a symbol representing the water. The water represents the fishing industry in Japan, which is massive.
Wow.
But the water is also about your network, about putting the net in the water and fishing. So fish where the big fish is, but also make sure that your network is there, helping other people, but also people helping you. The last one is the hole in the middle. Now, around the hole in the middle is a gear wheel representing the Industrial Revolution in Japan. That is also a representation of action. I've used that word quite a bit today. You've got to take action. So it's all about having a vision and a dream and a routine. Do some action, take charge and start moving forward. So by having that coin, Gail, hopefully that will bring you good karma and good luck as well.
Oh, great analogy. Thank you, Steve. Yes, I shall.
Now, finally, I've got a video which I'd love to play. Is that okay? Is it about 3 minutes long? Have we got time for that?
Fire away.
Okay, let me just share the screen. I'll share the sound as well, and we'll watch this. And then that'll do. Okay.
Your voice, but still it's not enough, 'cause I need us. I swear it's the last time I'm going.
Representing Great Britain, Steve Judge. Good job, man.
Go on! Go on, Great Britain! Kirsty! On Steve! Go on!
Here's number 35. Here's Steve Judge.
Thank you very much.
Wow, well done. That was, brilliant. Oh, thank you so much. We'll wrap up. I'm speechless again, so we'll wrap up the evening with the competition. I don't know who saw the social media and who joined in on it. Obviously, Jim did, I did, I know you did, Steve. Yeah. We won't ask Andy Steele, obviously, he loves trees anyway. So yeah, did anybody want to join in the competition? And you can show your tree hugging picture to the screen and we'll pick a winner. Did you all participate, or shall we leave that one?
So I think apart from me, you, Gail,
and Jim,
I think Jim is the only one. So I can't give a book to myself. Gail, doesn't seem right that you win the competition. So Jim, this book is for you, Mastering the Game of Life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a nice little message in the front of it. Now, this is a really good correlation to the Green TV and the PATT Foundation, because the proceeds of this book go towards planting trees, forest in Ghana. So that's a really good charity that I'm involved in. Paul Lowe, who's on the call here, is the instigator of all of that. And we're constantly looking for world game changers as well. So people who want to make a difference within the world. And it's really opened my eyes. I was thinking about the UK initially until I met Paul. And then Paul opened my eyes to the bigger place called the world. We're not quite into the universe yet, but maybe that's the next step, hey, Paul, next year or something.
That's where I'll come in. The universe.
It's a really good book. So if anybody is interested in that, contact me. I've seen in the chat also somebody saying, how do you get the book? Contact me. So I'm on social media. Drop me a line. You can contact me on email, stevejudge@live.co.uk. I've got a website as well. You should be able to find it, steve-judge.co.uk. Again, if you buy it from me, then I can put a nice little message in it and send it to you. You can get it on Amazon as well. And again, if you're interested in the workshops at all, whether that's coaching, in speaking, or transformational, or finding your gold and working towards it, please just give me a shout. So that would be great. And again, once again, thank you, Gail, for the opportunity that you give me tonight. I've loved every minute of it.
Very, very welcome. Thank you for coming on Green TV with the PATT Foundation. Thanks so much. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Okay, well, it's 2 minutes past 8, so I'm going to hang around for a little bit, but I know everybody else has got things to do. So I thank you for coming, and I will hopefully meet you on social media again sometime. See you later.
Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.